Hola, everyone. Welcome back to Sin City Crypto, a special trading edition. We've been kind of hinting at we're going to be doing more trading on the show. Well, here it is, a little teaser. Today's show is going to be just me, the charts. We'll take a look at some news, some quick news, right? Cardano's getting ETF. What is that going to do for the price? We're also going to take a look at some funding rates. We're going to take a look at money flows. Where is money going to? Try to get ahead of the curve here. And then we are seeing a little bit of a rally from BTC, currently sitting at $98,000. If we swap over to the Heikin-Ashi candles, you can see it clearly. As long as this candle, this is an hourly candle, it's got about 13 and a half minutes. If we can close just the way it is now, this could be the beginning of a nice little uptrend. Where's that going to take us? What are some resistance levels? We'll talk about that. So welcome. If you're new, say hello. I'll keep my eye on the chat from time to time. Also, if you guys have anything you'd like to look at, any questions, I do want this to be a community thing. So we love you guys' feedback. We love some questions, comments, and randomly peek into the chat and take a look at that. Speaking of peeking into the chat, just a few hellos. Knoxville, what's up, man? Long time no see, buddy. Triple D's in the house. Andrew Brown, he said, I'm on coleslaw, feet picks and crypto. Fair enough. What's up, Jason? And also Lucio, what's going on, brother? He's a big HBAR fan. I love HBAR too. Not too bad, but audio is a little low. I was testing that here. Let's give this thing some juice. Check. Should be a lot better here on the audio, guys. I did bump up the gave a little bit of juice. So give me a thumbs up or put a 1 if the audio quality got a lot better. All right. So let's take a look at BTC here. Swap over to the chart. So again, this is Bitcoin in the hourly. We're kind of following this. You want to call this a little wedge, right? We talked about this on the show today. Well, a couple of deviations, right? Let's just plug that thing right there. Now let's throw another one here. Wedge, triangle, whatever you want to call it. We were kind of range bound in there on the top end. We had a small deviation back on the 7th of February. Now, again, these are 1 hour candles. We had a small break. Now this is one important reason you should always wait for a back test because there's a lot of failed breakouts in crypto. You take a look at this one here. This was on February 7th at 6 p.m. Pacific. We blew right through this trend line, right? We got to a wick high of around 100.1K. And literally gave it all back in the next hourly candle, fell right back into our range and retested the bottom end, which is right at around 95.6. And so what we would like to have seen before we traded this breakout is a break above as we saw, and then come back and retest and kind of hold this line here, right? We want to hold this line, but we didn't hold that line, right? We fell right back through. And so once we saw the fall through, we could have easily put a short position in. Even if you skip this long liquidation candle to the downside, if you got in right around 98.2 and traded this thing all the way down to 95.6, you could have made decent money and then traded the long on the flip side. But we did get a breakout out of this channel. We didn't get that retest we typically wanted to wait for. So in this scenario, right, you had a breakout above 96.8. And then we started slowly grinding up on these hourly candles. And then we had a big spike up and then we gave everything back and it's been chop. So there was really no retest on this breakout here. But if you came back and maybe put in a long on this wick on the bottom here at 96.6, you could have potentially ridden this thing up. And depending on how much leverage you play, right now, if you're still sitting on the position, you're looking at a 1.6% gain multiplied by however many whatever you decide to do on your leverage. Now I'm gonna get rid of these trend lines. I'm gonna throw on this. All right, let's take a look at what's happening here. So our previous day high was right around 98.3, and just Bitcoin just wants to break. I just don't know. I really don't know. Let's take a look at the MACD here. Let's see what the MACD is saying. Well, I mean, a couple good things, right? We are trending green. We are trading above, right? We are trading above our zero line, so that's positive. If we throw on our cloud and we take a look at, well, where's the trend? At least on the 1 hour, the trend is green on the 1 hour. So we're trading above our cloud. We're actually trading above our conversion line as well, which is very bullish. And our cloud is green. So the trend is clearly green. But you take a look at this key level here, right? If we zoom out on the hour and we just go back and we take a look, okay, where can Bitcoin find some resistance, right? Let's just throw a horizontal line right at this level here. And we'll get rid of this. So you can see here, this horizontal line, this resistance line, we can go test it all the way back to, shit, remember, these are hourly candles too. Let's just start here. Let's start on December 12th, right? December 12th, came back on a downward price action. Then we had a nice little bounce back where Bitcoin really started gaining. We got around a 3.5%. We did give a little bit of that move back, but it was kind of grinding up ever since then, right? Grinding up, a little bit of a pullback, up, pullback. But the important thing here is we were making higher highs and higher lows, which is what you want to see in an uptrend, right? Now, that was broken when we fell below that 103.5 level. And as you can see on the reverse side, we start making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And it looks like this one here kind of had a really nice setup for a breakout long. But again, if you got into that trade before you got a retest, you would have gotten crushed because this wick took you above this key level, this 99,000 level, really flat, and we kind of ranged, tapped back up, and then everything really started trending downwards. So you can see the price action, what it's doing here. So this was back on the 20th of December. We had a wick here, and then we had a spill off, and that spill off, again, these are hourly candles. That spill off was 6.5%. Came back, retested, got rejected, retested again, consolidated at this 99K level, and then completely spilled off. Came back more recently. This was back on the 3rd of January, where we saw another retest. We pretty much had a triple top here, right? 1, 2, 3 tops. We broke above, came back, retested. And so this would have been a perfect time to enter this trade on this retest, and you would have gained around 4% multiplied by the amount of leverage you have. So you can see this $99,000 area has been a key level of price action for BTC as it has bounced off and gotten rejected off this level. And if you kind of zoom in to where we are, this would be a level that I would be interested in shorting Bitcoin. Now, of course, it could completely blow through it and go up. Fine. I hold a lot of spot Bitcoin. So either way, it would be a hedge for me. If I lose out on my short, it's fine. I'll put a stop loss. Put a stop loss right at that 99.6. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do that right now. Let's put in a limit order on BTC. We're going to go limit. Let's go back to the chart here. Let me move this around. Let's put a limit order right underneath. Let's go 98,952. 98,952. $750. Limit order, and let's bump this down to 8x leverage. 8x leverage, 98,952, $750. And let's put in this short order. Bam. All right, so we'll go here. We'll take a look. All right, Bitcoin short at 98,952. Let's go back and figure out where we're going to put our stop loss. Let's put our stop loss right here at 99,684. Let's go here. 99,684. Oh, that's TP. 99,684. Get rid of our take profit. 99,684. Stop loss. Bam. Done. Okay. So a lot of limit orders set. So curious to see what Bitcoin does. And again, on the daily, if we get rid of this trend line here, remove these drawings, let's throw on our cloud on the daily. So this is actually that 98.9 level is very important. You can see here the top end of this cloud. And if you've been following our channel, you know I love looking at this Ichimoku cloud. It gives you such clear guidance and visuals on where the trend is going. Is it up? Is it down? Are we in the no man land? So right now we're technically in no man's land, and you really don't want to trade this thing until we get above that 98.9 level, which we again should see resistance right at that level. As you can see here from these daily candles, right? I mean, take a look at these ugly candles, right? Large wicks. See, these are all essentially dojis, right? These are all dojis. What does that tell you? That tells you there's indecision in the market, right? Got a tug of war. Bulls push the price up to 100K. Bears push the price all the way down to 95.6, and price ultimately closes where it opened. So there's really no clear direction, at least in this subset of candles that you see here, where the market wanted the price to go. And again, yeah, this is looking really, really good. So we'll see. Maybe my short will fill and my stop loss will set and Bitcoin will continue to go up. And as Rob mentioned earlier today and during the live show, we'll get to that 105, 106K level. I'll be more than happy to do that and then try to find a short there. Unless we see volume come in, we see some other important indicators flash that the trend will is going to go ahead and continue. But this is a key level again, 98.8 for BTC to take a look at. So I'm going to take a look at the chat and then I'll jump into some more charts and stuff. So Mark said, ain't got no crypto and I ain't got no future. Well, you can always change that. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Alex? Oh, crypto. How you doing, brother? Not too bad, but audio is a bit too low. Okay, I should have changed. All right, sweet. So I do want to share one piece of news. This was posted by Mr. Seifert, James, that is. We're going to see a lot more of this in 2025. You're going to see ETF applications. Take a look at what Litecoin did, right? There's a Litecoin ETF application filed, and to no one's surprise, let's go take a look at LTC. Litecoin had a really, really, really big rally. And I don't care what Robin says, this thing's going to make a new all-time high this cycle. I mean, just a beautiful breakthrough of the cloud and an almost perfect retest. This is on the daily, right? Take a look at this. This is an almost perfect retest of the top end, which is that 117 level. So the trend here, all we need to confirm this uptrend, yeah, this was a beautiful setup. Take a look at this. So take a look at this MACD. We had a crossover below. We got a crossover below our zero line, which is very good. Plus, we're looking bullish. And take a look at our liquidity flow index. Although liquidity flow is still red, price sentiment, or our sentiment tracker did breach our midline, which I've back tested this. If you trade the break of the midline, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, if it breaks up, you go long. If it breaks down, you go short. This thing is pretty damn accurate. Now, nothing is 100%. It's all about probabilities. But this Litecoin chart looks really, really juicy right now. Oh, yeah. So that's the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, Litecoin's been on this. I mean, this is a beautiful candle. And this right here, this was like the perfect signal. If you take a look at candle by candle, this was a perfect signal to really reverse this, right? This is called a hammer candle. And although it wasn't a prevalent downtrend or anything too long, you can see you saw the same thing here, an inverted candle where we saw, anytime you see these hammers or inverted hammers at the bottom of a downtrend, this is a great reversal signal. And you take a look, if you would have bought this trade and you rode that thing up to the high, it would have been a 44% gain. And even if you took the close here, you'd be sitting on around a 16% rally again right now if you would have had, and depending on, again, your leverage position, what you decide to put in. But this chart looks really good for Litecoin. And so I'm a believer this thing's going to make a new all-time high. It's one of the OGs. It's just, don't try to, sometimes you can't try to make sense of why something continues to rally, why something's going to continue to make all-time highs. But Litecoin will make a new all-time high this cycle. And that $121. Now, is this all because of the ETF application? Potentially. But we saw with Bitcoin, ETF application is filed, Bitcoin ran. Ethereum, that kind of came out of nowhere, got approved, ETH ran. But then what happened afterwards? Bitcoin ran, and let's take a look. I think I have this thing pulled up here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin returns by month. Okay, so 2024. So really January we saw. Now, towards the end of 2023 is where we started seeing the rumblings and rumors of, hey, we're going to get a spot ETF approved. People are hearing things. And then, bam, January, we get this thing going. And February is really where it took off. And then it was kind of boring, right? April, minus 15%. May, plus 11%. June, minus 7%. July, pretty much a dud. August, negative. September, we started heating up, and then the Q4 of 2024 was really big. You can go up here. You see Q4, we saw a little over 47% gains in the price of BTC. Now, you go to ETH, right? ETH had its application approved. I believe it was May. It was May or June of 2024. Again, saw that big pump from ETH in May. And then it was a dud for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight months from June to October. We saw either red or nothing. And I say 3.5%. I know that's something, but to me, that's really nothing. When you talk about being in a bull market and ETH gets an ETF approved and we see a 3.5% gain in a month, that's not anything to inspire anyone. So, but that, and then now, why am I saying this? You're going to see a lot of this ETF is getting approved, that ETF, XRP, Litecoin, Cardano, Solana, HBAR, you name it. Don't be surprised to see something very similar to what we saw with Bitcoin and ETH, where we see a rally leading into the approval. The approval happens. Now, the important thing to keep an eye on too here is Grayscale. Do they have a trust already in place that they're going to convert into the spot ETF, or is it going to be a fresh product that they don't have to worry about rolling it over, or not rolling it over, but keeping the fees high so they don't take a massive L on those fees they take on their trust currently? And so Bitcoin, we know they have massive amounts of Bitcoin. They came out at 2.5% for their fee when everyone else was like a tenth of that, right? 0.25, 0.3% from BlackRock. And so we saw massive amounts of outflows from Bitcoin. We saw kind of something similar with ETH. Altcoins might be a little different, but that's just something to keep an eye on. We're seeing these things rally now. We saw Litecoin rally now. Let's take a look at where ADA is. I know ADA was kind of pumping. ADA's at 75 cents. So on the hourly candle here, you can see just this massive rally here. This is a 4% hourly candle. Broke above our falling wedge here. And this one was a beautiful setup as well. You take a look. Then this is what I was talking about as far as waiting for that retest and entering the position there. We had a breakout above, right? This was on the 10th. So today, this was at 5 in the morning. We had a breakout above, came back and retested, chop. Now you could have entered, you could have entered a long trade anywhere here as long as the price continued to stay above this trend line. And if you did, if you bought right at that trend line, you'd be up around 7% multiplied by your leverage. So it pays to pay attention to the charts. It pays to pay attention just in general, because when prices are down or shit's boring, you can still make money swing trading. You still make money scalping profits. And this was really a channel that, I mean, I've had this thing on for about 7 days. So this was a week-long channel. We zoom out to the 4 hour, right? That break was even cleaner on the 4 hour, right? We had a wick above, came back, closed right at that trend line, and then just a takeoff, right? Just a takeoff. Now, the one thing we're not seeing here, and yeah, I mean, we just want this to cross above our midline, which it's going to. And then on the liquidity flow, I mean, sentiment is pretty high, and I would expect it has a lot to do again with this. But again, something to keep an eye on. Are we going to see sell-off right when it gets approved? I expect multiple ETFs to be approved this year. And so now we know Cardano, I believe, is going to be one of them. Solana is going to be one of them. XRP, I think Hedera is going to be one. Obviously, Litecoin, and we'll get some other. Also, we labeled these in our almanac as well. I don't know if we had Cardano in there, but we definitely labeled some of these. Take a look at the rest of the markets here. BTC is still above 98K, unless, yeah. And some of the biggest gainers, nice bounce back from Virtual Protocol. This was a chart I was looking at. And I swear to God, if I didn't just completely, I bought so much crypto on that Sunday night massacre. I bought a shitload of crypto. I am literally not, I don't have any more money to put into crypto. And so, I mean, look at Virtual's protocol chart here. So this thing rallied to over $5. So shout out to all of you that got into this trade or hold some spot of Virtuals. This rally from $1.50 to $5 was massive, with really just one big pullback, which happened. This happened between the 16th of December to around the 19th of December. Now, again, these are hourly candles. Let's zoom out to the daily. Let's take a look here. Let's throw some fibs on here. Let's take the move from this 35-cent level, right? I think this is kind of where Forrest got it. And you can see here, and I'm just going to get rid of that. You can see here, right? We broke below that 786 level, and then we kind of consolidated. Now, one thing I do want to keep my eye on is that level I had put on here, right? And I'm going to zoom in. I'll throw it back on here in a second. This level I had on here, this is a very, very key level, right? This $1.40, call it $1.50. I am curious to see how Virtuals reacts. Now, the one benefit to this project is it did just bridge over to Solana, where we know there's a ton of users. A lot of the Virtuals, not a lot, but there's a few Virtuals agents who are on base, right? On virtual base, but they're also on Solana, right? They bridged over. And now people are able to access it from the Solana side and from the base side, which is very, very bullish. Again, you talk about tapping into a user base. Solana has a shitload of users, and a lot of that Trump money that went in there, the people that are at least in profit, there's a lot of them sitting on that SOL. And so will it get deployed? I love this team. This is one of my favorite teams in crypto, the Virtuals team. And so I'd be looking at this $1.40 level. If we can reclaim $1.40, I mean, you can say $1.87, right? And I'll throw another line on here. You can say $1.87. We kind of were range bound here for a week or 10 days. And then we tried to break out, got rejected, and then just saw this massive breakout. We almost retested it on a wick on our first pullback, which was around from $2.95 to a wick low around $1.97. And then it was off to the races. And on the way down, this $1.86 level, it held up for a bounce. It ended up being a dead cat bounce, and then we just kind of fell right through both trend lines. So I'd be looking at $1.40. If we reclaim $1.40, $1.86, $1.87 is where we want to look. And then from there on out, you're looking at $2.30, $2.62, and then really all-time highs, right? All-time highs. You know, I'm very curious. I'm going to get rid of these. I'm very curious on, did we create any gaps on the way down? Did we create any gaps on the way down? Let me do this really quick. Let's go to fair value gap. Bam. All right. Okay. So we did have this one big gap here. This gap was from $1.67 to $1.94, right? When we saw that massive 20% daily candle. This was on the 1st of February. So kickoff February, we lost 20%. Now I have a lot of my portfolio, not a lot, but a good chunk of my portfolio in virtual. So this was pretty brutal for me. But again, when you step back from the charts and the price action and you analyze, okay, price is down, what happened? Okay, it's a global thing. People are freaking out about tariffs. Macro, has anything changed from the team side? No. Has anything changed from the project? No. Has anything changed from the users? No. Great. Buying opportunity, or I'm not panic selling. And so I expect this gap to fill. And I honestly believe this thing is going to $15 to $20 billion at least. At least. Unless you think the AI narrative is completely dead, there is zero reason to believe that in my opinion, the number one infrastructure play in all of AI, the only one I can argue might be up there with it is ELIZA, formerly known as AI16Z. You can throw Hayanon in there. That's really, I mean, you can throw Craterbit in there, but the virtuals, you wanna hedge on AI, or you want a high upside play on AI. I think virtuals in picking it up at $1.26, getting at least a 10x out of this thing to $12.60. To me is a no-brainer. All right, we'll take a break. Take a look at the chart. Triple D said, "Does this change your standard top price for ADA?" Does it change my standard top price? What do you mean? Are you talking about with the ETF? Are you talking about just for cycle high? I'm curious to get a little more clarification. If you give me that clarification, Triple D, I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. You said, Grayscale doesn't have any alts to dump and unlock. These all ETFs should be all net flows. Yeah. Great point, Frankie Finance. Should I sell my ETH for ADA? That's an interesting question. Should you sell your ETH for ADA? Well, I would have some questions for you. One, how much ETH do you hold? How much ADA do you hold? Two, how much Bitcoin do you hold? I think that's an important question. Not a lot of people consider. I would say at this time, no. Unless you're in massive profits, and let's say you bought ETH at last cycle lows, at $200, $100 or whatever, you're sitting on a 20x, 25x. Like, look, I don't have any exposure to Cardano. I'm sitting on a 25x from ETH. I know it's down from $3,500, $4,000, but I'm happy with it. I want some exposure to ADA. Then yeah, I mean, why not? I think both are good projects. Also, Zishan said, hello from Pakistan. What's up, brother? First time here. Thanks for content. What's up, Spine Tricks? How you doing, man? Welcome. Can you look at SWE? Okay, so Triple D. Yeah, I mean, not really. I'm still bullish on Cardano. I mean, they just went through the Chang Part 2, right? You have the unlock of the 1.5 billion ADA treasury. You got the largest decentralized network in the world. You're talking about, actual governance. So to me, last cycle, Cardano got smart contracts at the very top of the market. This cycle, it went through a long bear market, a pretty brutal bear market, came out just fine. They continue to build. Nothing really changed on the back end side of Cardano as far as, building and with the team. So for me, my base case for ADA is still $7, $8, $7, $8, $10, something in that range. Unless something happens. And I don't know what that thing is, but you got scalability now. You got decentralization now, right? At least from their roadmap. And you're giving Wall Street an avenue to invest in this project. And don't forget what Charles said in his last AMA he did. He's meeting with a very important person at the end of the month. Now, a lot of speculation. Is that going to be Elon Musk? Is that going to be someone else? Who knows? But at the end of the day, Cardano is a project that they just do it right, man. They do it right. They just need a fucking stable coin. They need a goddamn stable coin. They need USDC or USDT. USDM is great. JET is great. You need, because here's the other thing you got to remember. You see all those $1 billion of USDT was minted on Ethereum, or was minted on Tron, or was minted on, what was the other one? Solana. You don't have that. Right? You don't have that injection of liquidity into the Cardano ecosystem because there is no stable coin. And so that's one of my biggest things is get a stable coin in there. You'll bring some users in there. And we just need a couple of really badass dApps for Cardano, right? Like Jupiter level dApps, something like that to really bring users in there. So how high do you think virtuals can go? I answered that, Ricky. I'm like 15 to 20 bucks is kind of my base case. Like super bullish, like really, really bullish. I would be surprised if it got there, 30 to 50 bucks. I'm a believer in AI is going to be a big narrative moving forward. I really am. All right. I want to show you this. So this was posted by Michael Saylor. So I know a lot of people, we do our show every day, right? And we always talk about, always share bullish news, and this country's doing this, and this pension fund is adding Bitcoin, and these states you see on your screen, they're all trying to buy Bitcoin, and everyone's wondering, like, well, why is the price going down, right? OTC desks are drying up, right? You have some old whales that are selling. You have a lot of new whales that are entering that are not selling. And then you got people like Michael Saylor and states, nation states, countries, right? Large pension funds, sovereign wealth funds that are going to be accumulating Bitcoin. And it's as simple as this. If you get enough people wanting to buy it at the same time, you can't just dig deeper into the earth and find more of it, right? You just can't do that. You can't take a pan, go into the river and try to find it. Like, oh, there's a Bitcoin. You can't. 450 mined a day, period. That is it. So when the OTC desks dry up and the miners only mine 450, they have their own reserves that they don't want to sell. Where else are they going to get the Bitcoin? Where? They're going to get it from the order books, and that is what directly impacts the price of BTC. A little disappointed we don't have Nevada, as Nevada's blocked out. Shame on you. Come on, Governor Lombardo, what are you doing? But this I believe is going to be completely orange very, very soon. Now here's the thing. We talk about a strategic reserve for the U.S. That's on a federal level. You could very well have a federal strategic reserve and state strategic reserves. So California could have a strategic reserve, Nevada, Massachusetts, North Dakota, Iowa, Texas, Florida, you name it, on top of the federal government having it. And that's just one country. That's just one country. And so it's just, unless I suck at math, which I was very good at math. Unless, like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, like, I cannot wrap my brain around the people that are bearish on Bitcoin. I just can't do it. You see this news, you see what's happening, and you only focus on the 30-minute candles on Bitcoin. You're like, Bitcoin's not doing anything. Or the people that go on the 1-minute candles. Oh, Bitcoin hasn't done anything for the last 5 minutes. This thing sucks. Guys, these things take time, right? This next 4 years, we're going to see a little bit of, we're going to see some bumpiness in the market, right? Trump came in, kind of really upended everything, kind of took a defibrillator to the economy, to the people, to the government, to the bureaucracy, and it kind of shook some people up. And so investors and markets are kind of on edge. They have a lot of capital on the sideline. Let's not forget, we have $6 to $7 trillion sitting in money market funds. And they're only sitting there because the interest rates were so high, right? The interest rates were high, so they're like 5.5% in essentially a guaranteed place where I can get that money, or put it into the market when Trump's coming into office, knowing he's going to do tariffs, knowing he's going to want to shake the government up. We'll take the 5.5%, even if we miss out on 2-3% in the S&P or whatever other index fund they put money into. They're happy with the 5. As long as they're outpacing inflation, they're good, right? We talk about billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. So once the Fed starts cutting rates, that money will leave, because no one's going to leave money in there for 2%. You're not going to see $7 trillion sitting in a money market fund earning 2% when the tech stocks and the NASDAQ and the S&P and the Russell and the overseas markets, they're all rallying. Bitcoin's rallying, crypto's rallying. You now have 10 ETFs. You have a basket ETF. You have a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. There is zero chance that is going to happen. So that's just one thing just to remind yourself, right? Just keep an eye on. All right. You know what? Since I'm at my house and it's kind of casual, I'm just going to hit my vape. What are my thoughts on Sonic? I like Phantom, dude. I really am. Formerly known as Phantom, currently known as Sonic. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Sonic. And, I feel like Andre Cronje has really just come back to life. So that was good. All right, let's take a peek here. These are net inflows on the 1 hour. Who's getting the most flows, guys? Look at who is getting the most flows. It is none other than Robin's favorite, Ethereum, right? They're coming from stables and fiat, okay? Stables and fiat is where it's coming from. Now, the total net outflows, who's getting the most outflows? It's really Bitcoin, right? Over the last 1 hour. Let's go a little more macro on this. Let's go on let us do the day. Let's take a look at the day. Right? So inflows, right? You see USDTs flowing into stables, Solana, Bitcoin, a little bit of Litecoin, ETH, and XRP actually. $14 million flowed in to XRP. And then ETH around 29 million and BTC $53 million. Now, who had the most outflows? Take a look. Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin had $191 million of outflows. So these are inflows and outflows, right? I don't have a net flow here. This one doesn't have a net flow chart, but just something to keep an eye on. And then I know I showed this a couple days ago on the week, but look who's getting the most inflows out of all the projects. It is Ethereum with 452 million, including 406 million from Bitcoin to Ethereum, right? Then you have the euro, the Turkish lira, FDUSD, and then this one too. I talked about this. Apex is an interesting one. This just tells me, it's just the same money moving around, and we need liquidity, right? You want to see a blow off top in the altcoin markets, you need liquidity. Let's take a look at total 2, right? So this is everything minus Bitcoin everything minus BTC. We're seeing a nice reversal here. It looks like we bottomed right around 1.17 trillion. Now, if we go to total 3, which is everything minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, kind of the same chart, right? So we just need like an injection of capital. We need an injection of capital. If we get a series of these things in the markets, if we get end to quantitative tightening, meaning the Fed stops letting shit off their balance sheet, let it run off. They actually maybe start adding stuff to the balance sheet. They cut interest rates. We get a fresh flow of liquidity, and we get some sort of legislation. That's going to be an important one, right? Because now the banks, they can, if they want to proceed with trying to get licenses or whatever they need to custody crypto, they can, right? SOB 121 is gone. It's gone. And so don't be surprised, right? It's going to be a race between your largest banks of your money, right? Like, hey, instead of putting it on an exchange that you get no customer service, sometimes they freeze your thing. You're just not sure. Look what happened to FTX. Do you really want to be part of that? Do you really want to lose your money? You already have been banking with us for 10 years. Just buy your crypto directly from your mobile app, and we'll just hold it for you. You don't have to write down a seed phrase. That right there, right, to anyone that's even been just slightly intrigued by the idea of investing in Bitcoin and crypto, that's it for them. Because a lot of people, and this is anecdotally and from what I've heard from other people, it's like, hey, you know, I was thinking about buying Bitcoin. All right, cool, yeah. Well, download this wallet and download this app, and then you got to link your account, and then you got to put it on there, and then if you want to buy something that's not in the exchange, you got to wait 7 days. And after the 7 days, then you can take that money out. But now you need another, like a DEX wallet, right? Like a hot wallet that you can, you know, a DApp wallet. And then once you put the money there, and then now you might have to bridge it over, or you have, like, it's just complicated. If you can tell people have the option to buy it directly through their bank and have their bank custody, you don't have to worry about anything. That also, I think, is going to be a spark to bring in the liquidity. But once we get that, the projects that have been building, right? Now let's just go through the list. ETH, I don't care what Robin says. ETH, if Bitcoin is at $300,000, Ethereum's at 10K. Okay? XRP, Solana, Cardano, Chainlink, Avalanche, Sui, Stellar, right? Hedera. Hedera is one at 23.5 cents. 23.5 cents. Maybe not Polkadot. Athena, you know what I was looking at? I was looking at funding rates. Okay, so look at this. This is 1 year, and I'm going to zoom out to the 30-day funding rates. Athena's just been getting destroyed. Look at the funding rate's been negative, and it hasn't even been a little negative. 8.5%, 64%, 43%, 56%, 71%, 95% negative funding rates. This thing is going to reverse. And Athena's one, I bought at 80 cents. I bought at 75 cents. Let me find this chart here on Athena. If you hold Athena, I'm curious. Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. I could have swore I just saw this thing here. ENA. There you go. ENA on the daily. I mean, let me get rid of these indicators really quick. Yeah, so this thing's in a downtrend. And we're below our EMA. Okay. So Athena had a massive rally up to $1.51 and then kind of got into this kind of a cup and handle, but not really, right? You want to call this a cup and handle, right? There's your cup. There's your handle. We saw a little bit of a break and then boop, just a quick spill off, right? Just everything just gave up to the downside, right? But price has been getting destroyed, right? Take a look at the RSI. RSI has been making lower lows and lower highs along with the price. We're right at 34, so we're not too far off from oversold territory. And I mean, we're at a, you know, this might be a great long. And by the way, what I like to do when I chart, especially if I got people watching me, is I don't like to look at things ahead of time. I do sometimes, but I like to go through the process of what I'm doing, what I'm thinking before, during live on the show. So those of you watching that may not understand some things, you can kind of see the process of why, as I talk through it. You know, that's one thing I love about MATIC and ALGO is these guys, that's what they do. So take a look at this 46.5 cent level on the daily time frame. We consolidated here from the 15th of July last year to the 27th. So a solid almost 2 weeks till we had a spill off. We got rejected on there twice, and we'll call this one time, twice. blew above it, came back on a retest, and then just absolutely shot up 170%. Then we saw from wick to wick, we saw a 32% drawdown, and then we essentially got a double top on Athena, and we've just spilled off. You take a look at where price is now, we're consolidating at that key level. Now, the last time we consolidated here, we broke to the downside, right? And one can argue we consolidated in a downtrend, right? We're in a clear downtrend, right? We're in a clear downtrend, and we consolidated in this range and broke below, right? But the break below, let me measure this. Our break below was around 50%. And so do I see something similar happening? I don't know. And you got to remember, this was back in July of last year, where really everything was flat, right? Bitcoin was boring. It was chopping sideways. It was kind of grinding, not really down, but it would have some weird spikes up and down, and they would just beep, 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 beep. It was just channel, right? It was boring. Everyone was lulled to death. Try doing a live show 5 days a week when viewers are not interested and it's boring as shit. And you go through Crypto Panic and X, and you have to like really search into the bag of tricks to find an article or a talking piece that you can stretch out long enough to give your opinion. So it just was, but I mean, this, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go market here. By the way, guys, if you don't have an account with BuyDefi, highly recommended, especially if you're in the US. They're non-KYC. No, I'm not going to go 15x. I'm going to go 8x. They're non-KYC, no VPN in the US. They're available in a bunch of countries too, and they do like I think they're doing a 15%. Also, shout out to I think like 15 of you who use our BuyDefi link. You guys got some money airdropped on top of the bonus. Some money airdropped into your spot wallet. I know there was one person who got almost $500, another one that got 300, and then 10 people that got like $40. This is a no strings attached. You could literally pull the money out right now if you wanted to. So if you have an account with BuyDefi, go in there, check your spot wallet in the asset section, right? The little, whether you're on your mobile app or on the website. If you're on the website, just this little wallet icon, go here and then click on your funds, your spot, and you should see some money in there. Well, you can see some money in there potentially. So that's just our way of saying thank you for supporting us and supporting the people that sponsor the show. And so we'll be doing some more of that. We'll also be doing some trading competitions as well. Okay, so Athena, how much do I want to put on this thing? Let's go. Let's do another 750. 750. Now, if this fails, right, I'm putting my stop loss at 43.37, okay? Stop loss is going to be 0.4337, 750, 8x, market, long, let's fucking go. Athena long position is in. So we got two positions open. We got a ton coin position open. We opened that at $3.76. With our TP, I think our TP is at $4.15. Ton coin just was looking so good. But the problem is there's just no velocity in the markets. There really isn't. Like, you take a look at setups, and ton coin had one of the nicest setups. I just got to remember, was it on the 4 hour or the daily? It was on the 4 hour, I believe. Right? You had some bullish divergence on the 4 hour. Not there, but here, right? You had some bullish divergence on the 4 hour. We're making higher highs on or higher lows on the RSI, but we're making lower highs on the price. And so this was beautiful bullish divergence. And you also had, right? You essentially had, let me throw on another trend line here so you guys can see. Kind of a falling wedge, right? Falling triangle, falling wedge. Zoom in here, you guys can see. And this was just a beautiful setup for a break to the upside, right? And we did, but it's kind of been lackluster. And, I bet these bands are tight as shit. Yeah, they're pretty tight. So these bands on the 4 hour, if I go out to the 12 hour, you can see they're getting, this thing is going to move. This thing is going to move. Let me see what the daily looks like. Daily doesn't look that sexy. Let's take a look at the 6 hour. 6 hour Bollinger Bands. I mean, does it get tighter than this? like this price action has gone through price rejuvenation. You know, I knew someone that got the V word, rejuvenation. Very strange how they do it. Anyways, so this is on the 6 hour. We're seeing a massive constriction of our Bollinger Bands. This thing is going to break, and I'm just betting. Everything is telling me, from the TA to everything else, Toncoin has been fucking boring, right? This thing has been absolutely boring. Take a look on the daily, right? We had a massive run from February of last year. We saw Toncoin go from $2.10 to $8.24. And we saw a spill off, and then you had chop, and then spill off, and then just over the last, 5-6 days, chop, right? Chop, chop, chop. So this thing is going to break, and I believe it's going to break to the upside. So $4.15, I might move that take profit up a bit, depending on what price action does. But I want to throw this on real quick. We do need to fill this gap at that $4.58 level on the to the upside, right? So immediate resistance, I would say, is at $4.13, which is right below where my take profit is, which also coincides with the bottom end of our fair value gap. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change this to $4.12.5. Our first take profit. Bam. Okay. So we adjusted that. And the reason I adjusted that is because, you know, these are dynamic, right? And so previous week high, we had $4.14.5. We barely got it the candle after. These are dailies, right? So this is our Monday morning candle, which put in our previous week high. And then the very next day, we tried to retest on a wick, but we failed. And that number was around $4.12. So I want to keep my take profit right below the top end of this fair value gap and also of our previous week low. Now, again, depending on how price reacts, how price moves, I might adjust that to the upside or to the downside. All right, let me take a peek at the chat here. 66 likes, not bad, not bad. Will XLM really be backed by silver? I haven't heard that. I have no idea. Metis is a good play too. Have you seen it? You know, Ricky, I got some insight on Metis, on the Metis team, that I was not too happy to hear. Let's see if I can find it through my Telegram. It was in a Telegram chat I'm in with some pretty well-known people that work in the space and that have worked with Metis. And they said it was something about the team and something that had happened. So I don't know, proceed with caution. Nothing to do with, I guess, the fundamentals of the project, but as far as the team, just something, yeah. Ondo up 5%. I love Ondo. You need to have some Ondo. Like I know we say not financial advice, but y'all need some Ondo in your bags. You really do. Cause when BlackRock comes in and when the RWA narrative takes off, Ondo will be at the forefront of that. Ondo really will. All right. I think was there anything else I wanted to show you guys? I think that was it. That'll do it for the show today, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll be doing more of these until I get a set schedule for the trading shows. I try to give like an hour heads up as far as when we're going live. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, have your notification bell on, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the live show in studio at 11 a.m. Pacific. I love you guys. I'll see you then. Peace.